Hello everyone and welcome to the video discussion of English 11A Oral Communication in Context. Imagine a scenario wherein you uttered something, but then it is perceived differently by the listener. How would you feel if the message you wanted to portray was interpreted with a different meaning? Sometimes, the way we utter words could be perceived in a way we did not expect it to be. In our previous lessons, we have discussed speech contexts and speech styles. In this module, we will deal with speech acts and how important it is to deliver effective communication through appropriate speech acts. Let's start? Here are the most essential learning competencies in this module. You can explain that a shift in speech context, speech style, speech act, and communicative strategy affects the following: language form, duration of interaction, relationship of speaker, role and responsibilities of the speaker, the message and delivery. But what is a speech act? This is defined as the utterance that a speaker makes to achieve the intended effect. This is also usually performed through requests, warning, invitations, promises, apologies, predictions, and the like. Meanwhile, we have other definitions stated by researchers. Yule of 1996 states that speech acts are a study of how the speakers and hearers use language. On the other hand, Back of 1979 explains that action in verbal communication has a message in itself. So, the communication is not only about language, but also with action. In conclusion, a speech act is an utterance that occurs and an act that refers to an action. Proceeding to the speech act theory. The speech act theory was introduced by Oxford philosopher J.L. Augustine in How to Do Things with Words, which was later on developed by American philosopher J.R. Searle. The speech act theory considered three levels or components of utterances. And what are these utterances? We have locutionary, illocutionary, and perlocutionary. Again, locutionary, illocutionary, and perlocutionary. Locutionary is the actual act of uttering or saying something. This happens with the utterance of a sound, a word, or even a phrase as a natural unit of speech. Cutting of 2002 said, "Locutionary is what is said." Meanwhile, Yule of 1996 states that locutionary acts is the act of producing meaningful utterances. Meaning, anything you say that is meaningful is already an example of locutionary. A statement can be considered as locutionary act if it has sense, it has the same meaning for both the speaker and listener, and the utterances give rise to shared meaning when adjusted by the speaker for the listener. Let's have examples. It's so dark in this room. The box is heavy. The two sentences here represent the actual condition. The first sentence refers to the lighting of the room, and the second sentence refers to the weight of the box. These two sentences are meaningful because they represent the actual condition. The next speech act theory is illocutionary. Here, the intention of the speaker is already involved within the statement that he or she is saying. The illocutionary act is performed via the communicative force of an utterance such as promising, apologizing, and offering. This act is also called the act of doing something in saying something. The most significant level of action in a speech act is the illocutionary act because the force that has been desired by the speakers determines this act. You can identify a statement as an illocutionary act when it states an opinion, confirming or denying something, making a prediction, a promise, a request, or issuing an order or a decision, or giving advice or permission. Here are some examples of illocutionary acts. First, I will finish my requirements today. So this is a promise. Second, I like K-dramas better. This is an opinion. Third, turn off the lights when you leave. So this is a command. Let us have the same example sentences earlier. First, it's so dark in this room. Second, the box is heavy. Based on the examples given, the first sentence shows a request to switch the light on. Saying this statement means you are requesting someone to switch the light on. On the second sentence, this shows that you are requesting to lift up the box. When you utter these sentences under illocutionary acts, then you have the intention of making someone do something that you cannot do. The last speech act theory is perlocutionary. So this refers to the effect of the statement on the listener. The aim of this act is to change one's feelings, thoughts, or actions. This act is the act that is carried out by a speaker when making an utterance that causes a certain effect on the hearer or others. This refers to the effect the utterance has on the thoughts or actions of the other person. And this includes all those effects, intended or unintended, often indeterminate, or other utterances in a particular situation. A statement can be identified as perlocutionary when it is inspiring or insulting, persuading or convincing, deterring or scaring. For example, I was once a teenager like you and I never stopped dreaming. This statement is an inspiring one that will keep you thriving in life and that will push you to your limits. Let's go back to the examples given earlier. It's so dark in this room. The box is heavy. Based on the example, it can be inferred that the first sentence is uttered by someone while switching the light on, and the second sentence is done by someone while lifting the box. In these statements, you'll be motivated to do something about the situation because you are thinking that you can be alone in a dark room or you can lift a box even if it's heavy. So again, we have three speech act theories. First is locutionary, which means making meaningful statements or saying something like the listener understands. We also have illocutionary, which means saying something with purpose. Such purpose can be to inform, to persuade, or others. We also have perlocutionary, that is saying something that causes someone to act. A locutionary act can be illocutionary or perlocutionary. There you have it. That's all for Module 8 of English 11A. Did you learn something today? Okay. Thank you for watching. I hope you learned something in this lesson video. See you on our synchronous session. Bye!